Lawmakers demand answers from Amazon after warehouse deaths. The lawmakers want to know if Amazon's policies contributed to the deaths of 6 workers. I don't know if any of you have seen the pictures of the destruction from the tornadoes, but this Amazon facility in Illinois was hit. Yeah, you've probably seen pictures of it. Half of it's just completely gone, flattened out. Half of it's still standing, amazingly though. But let's read this and see what legal action Amazon is facing for responsibility of those deaths. A group of progressive Democratic lawmakers, led by Senator Elizabeth Warren and Representatives Cori Bush and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is demanding answers from Amazon after 6 people were killed in a tornado strike at one of its warehouses in Illinois. A letter sent Monday to Amazon CEO Andy Jassy and founder Jeff Bezos says the events that happened on December 10th at the Edwardsville facility, quote, fit a larger pattern. Amazon puts worker safety at risk in everyday situations and emergencies alike. As we work to ensure that tragedies such as this one are not repeated, we seek answers about what happened at your Edwardsville warehouse, the letter continues, and whether your policies may have contributed to this tragedy. A separate letter signed by Senators Marco Rubio and Sherrod Brown, a Republican and a Democrat, was sent Monday afternoon to Labor Secretary Martin Walsh, asking him to use the powers of his department to, quote, ensure that Amazon is treating its workers fairly and with dignity, which I think we all want. The Occupational Safety and Health Agency, or OSHA, a subsidiary of the Department of Labor, launched an investigation into the warehouse company on Friday, which I think they should. Amazon's size and scope necessitate particular scrutiny by federal regulators when widespread and credible allegations of labor and employment law violations surface, the letter reads. Amazon has faced several charges of unfair labor practices in recent months, and recurring worker strikes and attempts to organize reflect a persistent frustration with the company's management. You know, I've never heard anything positive about working at Amazon. Only negative things. On the one hand, absolutely, workers have their rights and they should be treated fairly, and get plenty of breaks and instructions for emergency situations and things like that. But at the same time, I kind of lean toward, if you don't like it, go work somewhere else. The tornado was part of a complex of extreme weather centered in western Kentucky on December 10th, leaving at least 58 dead over more than 150 miles. The path of destruction included Amazon's fulfillment center in Edwardsville, which was entirely destroyed by the strike. Well, that's not true. Your own image shows it's half standing. But maybe the whole thing's condemned. They have to pull the whole thing down, In the aftermath of the building collapse, reports emerged that workers at the warehouse didn't receive proper safety training, and an overall lack of preparedness by Amazon left workers in harm's way, despite weather warnings that tornadoes were likely that day. Man, Senator Warren said in an email to The Verge that the circumstances in Edwardsville served as, quote, another reminder that Amazon's anti-worker and anti-union practices put their workers directly in harm's way. Putting corporate profits above the health and safety of workers is unacceptable. Whenever I see politicians come out with a letter like this, it's hard for me to assume they're just wanting what's best for the public or Amazon's workers. I always have in the back of my mind, what do they actually want from this? They want more regulation and they want more power over these companies. Is Amazon at fault in some of this? Maybe. We'll have to see what the investigations find. Should they be held accountable if they are at fault? Absolutely. But I don't think this is an example of why the government needs more control over private companies. In addition to Representative Cori Bush, the Edwardsville letter is also signed by Democratic Senators Bernie Sanders, Sherrod Brown, and there's a whole list you can see here. A whole list of people that signed the letter. The letter includes a list of questions for Amazon to answer by January 3rd. In particular, the lawmakers ask who was working at the Edwardsville warehouse on December 10th and what safety policies Amazon had in place, as well as whether Amazon required workers at the plant to remain at work despite the tornado warning. All good questions, seems to me. Last week, Bloomberg reported that a nearby driver was instructed to continue deliveries just 90 minutes before the tornado strike, being told by their dispatcher that the storm sirens were, quote, just a warning. Amazon is investigating the incident and has said that the dispatcher should have immediately directed the driver to seek shelter. I don't know if this is the same driver, but apparently a driver was killed, from my understanding, after being told not to end his route prematurely. The lawmakers also wrote that they are, quote, deeply concerned about reports that Amazon plans to reinstate its mobile phone ban, which it paused in 2020 because of COVID. However, Amazon spokesperson Lisa Carroll told The Verge last week that the company had updated its cell phone policy. All reporting that it's been rolled back to pre-COVID is simply not true and factually incorrect. So as I read this, you're still allowed to have your phone. 2 of the people killed in the Edwardsville warehouse collapse were constituents of Representative Bush, who represents the districts in St. Louis. She said in a statement that Amazon's profits should never come at the cost of our community's lives, health, and safety. This cannot become the cost of doing business in America. I agree with that sentiment, and like I said earlier, if Amazon is found to be at fault for these, if they didn't follow the proper guidelines, they should be held accountable. They do have a big responsibility with the thousands of people that work for them at these giant warehouses. You know, it's not like you're working at a local McDonald's here. Somebody has to be responsible for this, for these workers' safety. It could be that they did everything they were supposed to do, and it's just a freak accident. But we'll have to see. Time will tell. That's your update for today. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And thanks. Have a good one.